Sup, my name is Ryu for the Council Network. Welcome to my Supergirl Stronger Together episode review. This is episode 2 for season 1, in case there's season 2 of Supergirl. And I did say last episode, I didn't go over everything, especially with the sister that is technically adopted. So I'm going to go over some of that now, and I'm going to go over the good, the bad, everything in this episode. To be honest, right off the bat, I don't think there's so much bad with this episode per se. It was a lot better. There's another guy, we don't know who he is, at the very end of the episode with the kryptonite knife. That was cool. That was really cool, I'm not gonna lie. The only thing that I really just cannot stand in this series, I know we're only 2 episodes in right now, me watching it, I can't stand the boss. Her boss, I can't stand her. I wish she would just die at the end of the season. I know it sounds really fucked up, but she's just like such a stuck-up bitch that, I'm sorry, it's just one of those things that I would just get her out of the show. Just get her out of the show. Great actress, just get her out of the show. Just write her character off. Please. But maybe it's just there because it needs to be the contrast. Supergirl is learning to, test her limits. She's learning that she has limits. And during this episode, we actually get to see one thing that I always like mention when it comes to these kind of things I like seeing is training montages, those whole things. We actually got to see a little more Krypton, which was hilarious because, hey, you gotta go to bed before the sun sets. That's messed up. Can you imagine being a kid and your mom's like, hey, you gotta go to sleep. You know what? Yeah, you kid, the sun's still there. You'll go to sleep now. Good night. Hilarious that her mother, it was a twin. Convenient. I'm not sure how much of this is actually being pulled from the show because the only real things I know about Supergirl actually comes from like Justice League Unlimited and whatnot. I'm not as big of a fan, I'm not gonna lie. I'm just, for Superman and just whatnot, I've always been kind of just out of it because I'm not a giant fan because it just feels overpowered, as I said before. She hasn't gotten the frost breath completely there. She causes a major disaster with the oil spill. That was actually funny. One thing that I thought was funny in this episode, in all honesty, I complained about it last, is that they wouldn't say Superman. It was just him and he and all these other ways of getting around it. And it was like, really? Come on already. We know. Multiverse. Just establish it. And that was such a hitting point last week for me. Last episode for me. Because I'm like talking about like if this is a week in advance. But it was just like, that last episode, it just sucked it out of me. It drove me nuts. This episode, they actually fixed that. Superman name drops all over the place. I'm actually okay with that. But the boss needs to go. That's the one thing. Her sister's a badass, and I'm actually glad that she can fight. She's not, I hate to sound this way, she's not a Laurel Lance season 1 where, oh no, I need saving. She's not that Princess Zelda. She's straight up can fend for herself, kills an alien by herself. Now, given that's an alien insect, but still, that's cool. Her sister actually gets taken. I don't know who you are, but I will find you, and I will kill you. It's just one of those things. To be completely honest here, some of it feels really clunky, like with Kara's actual, job and everything, with her trying to balance it. I know that's probably going to be a crucial part because we need to see the contrast of her being a straight up badass and fight, and her just trying to learn, this is my job to pay rent. And we actually got to see that with Jimmy actually mentioning it. Well, that's what your cousin has to do, because otherwise he can't just fly around all day and be Superman, even though some of the best stories are just him flying around being Superman. But we can't use that. Just can't. Here's my one problem that I see going forward with future seasons, and maybe I'm absolutely wrong with it. And this is the problem, and why I always said I'm not a big fan of Superman. When you have a Kryptonian, let's phrase it this way, when you have a Kryptonian, it's hard really, especially in the DCU, when it comes to TV, to write a character that you can use because they won't be used in a movie, and B, that will actually tell a compelling story. Now, in this case, I feel the aunt and whoever that is, I want to say it's probably her uncle, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just throwing that out there so much. Who knows? Maybe it's her dad. But I just feel like it's one of those things that it's so hard to, like, especially with Flash as well, because it's like the faster Barry gets, the harder it's going to be to put guys, in front of him without having to reset his powers. And I feel with Supergirl, we're going to see that happen, because Brainiac is pretty much going to be used in the Justice League movie in some shape or form. If not the first, then the second. If not the second, the third. Darkseid can't be used. Justice League can't be used. It's basically, after this season, maybe I'm looking way too far ahead. After the season, where are you really going to go? The aliens that they're fighting against, they already killed 2. One was an insect who looked like... If you ever played Halo, you'll see the Arbiter's mouth split, the Covenant, the Elites, or if you've ever watched Blade. I know that's completely out of context. You ever watch the Blade movies, the vampires have the split mouths, and I think it was like the second or third one. I can't stand those movies now, but back when I was younger, those were dope. But that's what it just felt like. It was like, are these the same kind of like mouthpieces? And he had the spikes coming out. But again, it was another rogue villain. It needed to happen, but she didn't fight him, because if she did, she'd probably just clonk on the floor. We got to see our first big bad versus our big hero just go at it left and right. But seeing her actually do these smaller little things to help the community, to gain their trust, that's good character development. But there's still a lot I'm just shaking my head at, and a lot of it just comes from where she works. Because it just... Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just my opinion, but the cat character, God, I just wish she dies at the end of the season. Such a bitch. I'm sorry. And the whole interview thing, I feel like that's only going to lead to other things that may end up being worse. And again, it's just a lot of where you take it from here. But this episode alone was, I wouldn't say it's as good. It fixed a lot of the problems I had with episode 1, but it caused more issues, because the same issues still arise, where it's like, oh, here we go. And when I say that, it's like, you can't have her too powerful right now. That's obvious as fucking day. But the one main issue that I had in this episode is that her sister gets the kill. I'm like, I know you fight aliens and you understand them, but you kind of need to take a back seat here, because it's cool, Supergirl, and it's cool that you're getting development, but not this quickly. Not this quickly. And, just, it's hard to say. So I'm going to give this episode an 8. There's a few things, again, it's kind of dragged it down. The kryptonite knife and them not knowing what kryptonite is, I'm kind of like going, really? Fuck me, man. Just like, fuck me. How are you Kryptonian and don't know what kryptonite is? I just don't know. Maybe it just doesn't really make sense to me, because of the sense that, hey, Superman's been doing this for like 12 plus years, and you would think that they would have some kind of backup plan, and that these Kryptonians, maybe they don't know, but, would kind of go, well, what do they use against him? And just try to take it from there. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too far into it. 8 out of 10. Still a great episode. I'm still not completely sold on this like I am with Flash and Arrow and Legends. I feel it's like under all 3 of those, and it's just right now for me. But you guys let me know what you think down below. And if you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe for more. I'm out for now, and I will see